Blessed to be a blessing. Blessed to be blessed. I am blessed. I am a blessing.
Truth about emotions.
Many people don't understand what emotions were truly designed for and create the illusion that one is controlled by emotions, when in reality, your thought, conscious or unconsciously, sends out signals that cause a certain feeling. All thought and feeling vibrate at a certain frequency that causes manifestation. In other words, thoughts are alive, and we are our thoughts. Our ancestors knew this, and this is why they chanted, practiced certain rituals such as rain dancing and conjuring. It has been said that even King Solomon had power over angels and demons. This power can be attained through a mixture of proper breathing, wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and proper tone of language and emotion behind it. You ever notice in movies when someone is doing a spell or summoning something, it's mostly done in an ancient language and an emotional tone?
Because the vibrational infliction of a certain language resonating with a particular emotion or feeling allows a spiritual being to pierce the veil in between dimensions.
Other ways are through collective thought, like
Prayer
and
meditation.
I believe the fact that women appearing to be naturally more in tune with their emotional mental construct is why it was most common for women to be witches or Wiccas in those ancient times. And a man appearing to be in tune with his logical mental construct correlates to a man being wizards or wise ones in those times. Now, whether or not you believe in that kind of thing,
It's just a part of history.
now, I say mental construct because that's exactly what they are. And that's exactly what we live by as humans, mental constructs.
The understanding of spiritual practices like magic are understood in a negative connotation, while certain secret societies who control the masses or appear to control the masses are using them every day on the masses and in the universe.
Deeper spiritual understanding like magic is only as balanced as the one using it. Just like any belief in science or religion, it's a neutral power. And the user or utilizer of that neutral power gives it definition and character. Since some of the religions took that spiritual element out of the more dominant great books, all we have left is really prayer. Unless we dig deep and safely through true history, and I say safely because if not knowledgeable and wise, one could make mistakes. It's a terrible mistake to make. Funny thing how some people look down on spiritual or ritual practice. Notice how the suffix of spiritual is ritual, but some look down on ritual practices that may open up deeper realms of spirit. But what do you call getting baptized, or speaking in tongues, or shouting? Most of all, communion. When you think about it, communion represents the ingesting the body of Christ and the blood of Christ. So in a sense, it is mock cannibalism. Yeah, I know it's a metaphor, but the fact still remains. It is mock cannibalism. And it's not
That I think anything is wrong with church ritual because I am not one to judge. Like Jesus said, he who is without sin, let him cast the first stone.
And I know many religious and non-religious people cast a lot of stones at each other. But when you look at the practice of these religions, they are ritual practices. How do we overlook this? If you take an outsider or a child who has never been to a church or seen a ritual in religious tradition and put him in the middle of service or ritual, that child or outsider would probably think that the people eating the body of Christ or getting baptized were practicing cult-like behavior. And it's not that I think that religions are cults. They are cults. Just look up the word cult in the dictionary. The definition of the word will tell you. Cult. Formal religious variation. Worship. 2a. System of religious beliefs and ritual. Also its body of adherence. 3. Definition. Religion regarded as unorthodox. Also its body of adherence. 4. A system for the cure of disease based on dogma set forth by its promulgator. 5. Great devotion to a person, idea, object, movement, or work. And that's the definition of a cult. But it's just the construct of words. However we utilize the words or misuse them is up to us. But religion, there it is right there. It's a cult. It's a cult. But remember that most of us are spiritual beings, and the blueprint to our spirituality can be unlocked through purifying the blood and balancing emotions. On a more practical scale, emotions can be responsible for everyday manifestation. This is why you can think of a friend and they call you minutes, even seconds after. Even deeper, it's one of the reasons why we get bad vibes from some people, because of that bad thought and bad emotion they may be putting out, and it gets transferred. Most of us have all met someone and felt a bad vibe, and this is why thoughts vibrate at a certain frequency that causes manifestation through emotional energy. And that's all emotions really are. Energy emotion. So if one perceives a situation to be negative, not negative, we'll say bad. If one perceives a situation to be bad, the emotion that follows that perception doesn't occur on its own. It is greatly assisted by the initial thought. The mind tells the body what to feel, and studies have shown that body responds to the thought by releasing bodily chemicals such as serotonin, which are like the feel-good signals from the brain, sending them to the body, telling the body to feel good. There's also adrenaline, DMT, oxytocin, dopamine, shock, and all kind of endorphins, good or bad. It just depends on the thought practice. It has been proven in science that thought can even create ulcers from stress. It's crazy. It can create ulcers just from you stressing. Secreting excess stomach acids into the inner lining of the stomach, which eat away at the stomach organ, resulting in what is known as ulcers. You can literally put acid in your stomach from what you think. Think about that. Some people can even consciously and manually release these bodily chemicals. So it helps to be conscious and balanced to better control what is going on inside of the body. In every instant when one has an emotion, for a split second it will be a thought first. Then instantaneously the body complies, turning that thought into an emotion. So in a sense, all emotion starts in the mind first. It is not emotion one must control, but thought. People say they need to control your emotions. No, you need to control your thought. I need to control my thinking, my thought. And I'll tell you why. Every single thing that is manifested in this world comes from a thought. From the clothes you wear, the house you live in, the car you drive, the job you have, the religion you believe in, even the name of the brain chemicals you release that cause emotion. It was all a thought first, and a focus that manifested into something physically. So that's what we do. We bring physical things into this plane of existence from our thoughts. Our emotions drive it. So we got to control that thought to create the right emotion to drive it properly so we can stay in the right lane.
Control thought in order to control emotion.
When one misuses the power of emotion and believes in the idea of emotion controlling the thought process, it could seem like a reality. But in all actuality, we control our emotions at all times. Sometimes we're just on emotional autopilot, causing the mind to play the background when it comes to intention. Now, the danger in being on emotional autopilot is emotion is not a logical intelligence, and you can't make rational decisions without using an impulsive consciousness. Therefore, one's reality is measured by impulse of feeling without logic and reason.
There's no balance there.
At the end of the day, we need a balance of both logic and reason. And we need feeling. It makes it all mix in right. There are many things that are designed to throw the balance of our emotional state off. And it's because human emotion in a state of fear and anger can be used as an energy
for certain types of mind control.
We as humans must learn to be more spiritually conscious of what types of emotional vibrations we send out and let in, because the emotional power of us humans is being used against us in ways that I may talk about later. Emotion can spiritually bring things into existence.
and it's responsible for spiritual manifestation.
And our natural spiritual duty is to guide them emotions. You got to guide them right and not be run by them. So fellas, get yourselves a good balanced woman. There's nothing better than a woman that knows how to utilize her emotional power. Stevie Wonder said it best.
She doesn't use love to make him weak.
She uses love to make him strong. And ladies, get yourself a guy that is mentally sturdy and understands the emotional power of a woman. Then you have some balance. And this is why I love music. It's one of the most powerful tools to conjure up the emotion that song communicates, whether it be good or bad. And this is why media, or radio, uses the power of music in a repetitive fashion, causing the brainwashing effect on humanity, especially kids in the urban community. Some parts of the industry force music that vibrates on a lower frequency, slowing down the mental, spiritual evolution of the youth, setting them back spiritually. There is music and artists that create productions which uplift humanity without preaching, but radio won't play that, and the labels won't even sign those artists, and I wonder why. Who's really in control? Because it ain't the labels, it's really us. Control the emotional state of the masses and you control the world. And this is one of the most powerful forms of mind control. Think about it. Every time you get in your car, at least 80% of the time, people turn on their radios and invite in the brainwashing. Just think of what good it would do the world if people heard high frequency vibrations from the radio at least 50% of the time. I'm sure it would promote some form of healing, but they would never do that because it's not the American way. And what is the American way? Control and power. There are many things that we're not taught in school about our connection to universal principle or law, and I'll get into that in a later chapter. But one of the universal laws is karma, and our emotions are constantly, consciously or subconsciously working in conjunction with karma. The ancients knew that, and it's even been said that upon a full moon, the mystics understood that the moon being a body of reflection,
they could bounce thought
and emotion off of it and practice what is known today as mental telepathy. Now think about that. This is why many crazy things and strange things happen on a full moon, because people's emotions and thoughts are being reflected back to them. So in a sense, it's not the full moon making people and crazy things happen. It is the full moon and sun energy responding to the crazy thoughts and feelings that people feel.
You see?
Now, if one is conscious during a full moon, it could work in reverse. But many people are conditioned to believe that it's just crazy things that happen during a full moon. And crazy things do happen, but they don't have to. It's been said that men are basically logic and women are basically emotion, but we're both. And we've been conditioned to believe that we're one more than the other. Bottom line, if you're lacking in one area, you should pick up the slack in the other area, logical or emotional. Once you begin to mentally control emotions, you can use them in a way that they were designed to be used, by consciously sending out emotions which are conducive to balance. Emotions are silent electromagnetic conductors that do what you tell them to do. One can silently send out emotions that will counterbalance anger, sadness, or depression. This action can also work in reverse, so you must be extremely careful. The order is think it, then feel it, and that doesn't really work in reverse.
Every signal interpreted by your brain sends out an electromagnetic frequency that will correlate to your past experiences and threshold of understanding. It is a moment-to-moment toggle between balancing thought and emotion.